Welcome back to episode 2 of Mills Canyon in the Kiowa National Grasslands. Today we're going to take the Honda Pilot with the 4-wheel-drive VTM locker out on some of the Forest Service roads and take a little wider look around the canyon. You can only go so far on foot in the heat, so we enjoyed the air conditioning of the Pilot and the 4-wheel drive. In the first episode, we did some hiking down to this very first obstacle. I was concerned that we might high center going down in this little, what they call a low water bridge, but we actually were fine. The first real obstacle that we came to was a wash immediately after the low water bridge, and I chose a line to avoid high center and had a chance to use the locker. So if you didn't see that, the driver's side rear tire lost traction first, and then it rocked over to the other side, and the passenger side rear tire lost traction. That's simply because there's not enough flex in the suspension, but as soon as I engaged the locker, we got right out of that little wash. The Mills Canyon Forest Service roads were a pretty good fit for the capabilities of my Honda Pilot, and we just had a pretty good time driving and then looking around and then driving some more. just We found about 4 dispersed campsites off of the trails, and I'm just going to show you approximately where they are on the Gaia representation of the area. About noon, we reached the end of the main trail, and we just stopped in the shade of a large aspen tree and enjoyed some lunch. On the way out, we saw some ruins, so on the way back, we agreed to stop and check them out. It was a pretty cool place. This building right here is the ruins of the main house of the Orchard Ranch. Melvin Mills was the owner. He was a lawyer in New Mexico. Melvin Mills was a enigma of an attorney who sometimes was working for desperados, outlaws, sometimes the Indians, sometimes politicians, but he was almost hung at one point, and the U.S. cavalry came to rescue him. The Orchard Ranch was devastated by a flood in 1904 and eventually was completely abandoned in 1917. Melvin Mills lost everything he had in that flood. This building was a bunkhouse, and there's not much left of it. There was supposed to be another building in here, too, that was the blacksmith, but we couldn't find that building. But there were some other ruins that sort of were loosely laying around, and we figured that was it. The only thing that Melvin Mills has left at this point is a canyon that's named after him, Mills Canyon. It was getting close to 90 degrees at this point down in the canyon, and we were in the direct sunlight, so we headed back to our campsite, set up our canopy, and laid around in the shade in our hammocks. I think I need more oil. In the shade of our canopy, we started to put together our supper, and we had some sausages, some pierogies, and vegetables.
Just put the fucking fly out of my face.
I'm a fly connoisseur. I can do that. While we were cooking some dinner, some young people came over to our campsite to talk. They were telling us that a few weekends ago that there had been a mountain lion that had made a kill close to our campsite, and we actually did find an old kill. There was nothing left of it at this point, and they were very frightened, thought that it might come back, so they actually were armed. And I have never actually seen someone armed at this level in a campground before.
They did not make it as far as that predicted.
We talked to these young people about food storage and food safety while they're camping. We had not seen any large predators. They definitely have much more of a fear of us than we do of them. We enjoyed a really nice dinner in the sunset, took it in, and went to bed early. We got up early, packed up quickly, and headed out to a beautiful drive up out of the canyon to a sunrise. There were a few little blinding turns where the sun shone against my bug-laden windshield, but other than that, we made it up out of the canyon and we were on our way. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you watched it this far, make sure you hit that subscribe button because next week we are getting back to that old motorhome remodel. See you next week.